Once again, a very cheerful morning to all my dear students. Today we are going to discuss a new topic, that is story writing. So before writing a story, let us go through some important points which should always be kept in mind to write a story in a much better way. First of all, the first point we are going to discuss is the plot. It is really very important to have a clear idea of the plot and of the order of the events in the plot. So before start writing a story, we should be clear about the plot or the idea and the order of all the events which we are going to write in a story. Moving ahead, the next important point is constructions. The points should be connected in a natural manner so that the story flows smoothly. After the construction, now the third important point is on which you should concentrate is detailing. Yes, all the details must be filled in imaginatively. Yes, my dear students, sometimes you may not be aware or you may not know the story, but you have to create a story based on your own imagination. So it's really spontaneous. So at that time, you must fill in the details using your own imagination. Details about actions, gestures, and emotion should be such that the story develops well. Dialogue and conversation also help in making the story natural and real and should be amply used. So you should use dialogues and conversations so that it looks quite natural. After detailing, next important point is conclusion. Yes, there should be a climax to raise the level of suspense, and the conclusion should be such that there is some surprise. Now you must be watching movies, so similar to that one, here also in story writing you must build up a climax so that the interest is there while writing or while reading the story, and one just sticks onto the story to find out that what will be happen at the end, and at the end there must be a surprise level. And yes, another one, language. The language should be simple but with correct grammar and expressions. Yes, use correct grammar to make it look more a good one, a good story. So correct use of grammar and your correct use of expressions will make it more interesting. And one important point which many of us forget while writing the story writing is the heading. Yes, the heading of our story is very important. It can include the name of the main character or incident or a suitable proverb also. The heading should also evoke interest in the story. So you should make the heading of the story based on any important character of the story or some important incident or the climax which takes place during the story, or you can also relate some proverb with the story. And while writing the story, it can be asked to write the story in 3 different ways. Yes, the question can come in 3 different ways. First one is from a given outline. Second is story based on a moral or proverb. And third one is from the opening sentence which is given. So whenever story writing comes in the exam, it can be asked in 3 ways, in either of these 3 ways. And which are these 3 ways? First one is from a given outline, second one is story based on a moral or proverb, and third one is from an opening sentence which is given. And one important point which you all must keep in mind is a story is meant to amuse, entertain, delight, or point out a moral. It must have a definite plot. It should be interesting and instructive. The writer of the story must have imagination and invention skills. A good story will have enough emphasis given to important details and they'll be told in the correct order. So you must keep in mind that your story should be an entertaining one which is able to amuse the reader and brings the reader a delight, and at the same time it should also convey a moral. Every story is incomplete if there is no moral at the end. And another important thing which you should always keep in mind is, while writing a story, must use your own imagination. You should use your own imagination and invention skills. A good story will always give a large emphasis on the details, and they will be told in the correct order. So give attention to the details, which makes your story more interesting, and always try to tell the events in the correct order. So if you keep these things in mind, your story will always be correct and you will be getting good marks in the story writing. And now for this, we are going to just read out an example for you, that is how we can develop a story with an outline. Here's one example for you. I'm going to read the outline which is given to you. Ishan's birthday. His friends decided to give surprise party, made all the arrangements. No one called and wished. He felt sad and went to office. Evening he got a call. One of his friend asked him to come home as early as possible. Friend sounded urgent. He got tensed and rushed home. Opened the door, saw all his family and friends and a birthday cake waiting for him. It was a surprise party. Felt so happy, said thanks to his friends. So now in this outline is given. Outline means you have been given some hints, the points and the plot is given to you. Here you have to just connect this plot, just work on the details, and then the story can be formed. Here you don't have to think over the plot and the details. The plot and the details have already been given to you. You have to just work on the detail part, the heading part, make it more interesting, and you can give it a moral or a conclusion. Now first we'll start by writing the heading. Yes, always start a story by writing an appropriate heading to it. So here I've written the heading Ishan's birthday. You can give it any, like you can also write a surprise birthday party, but here specifically we are talking about Ishan, so I think it will be more appropriate if I write Ishan's birthday. Now let's see how we start adding details to it, how we just connect these points and make a story. Ishan's friends decided to give him a surprise party this time. They had made all the plans and deliberately didn't call him in the morning to wish. Ishan was waiting for his friends' wishes, but none of them called. He felt so sad and went to office. He didn't receive any call until the afternoon. In the evening, a friend of him called and asked him to come home as early as possible. He sounded very urgent, and so Ishan was tensed. He thought something bad had happened. He rushed home. When he opened the door, he saw all his friends and family members shouting happy birthday. Ishan, then he knew that it was a surprise party. His house was beautifully decorated and a big birthday cake was waiting for him. He cut the cake and had a wonderful time. He felt so happy and said a million thanks to his friends for making his birthday such a memorable one. So this was how we developed a story out of the hints or out of the outline provided to us. We just added our own imagination, our own little expressions, worked out on the details, and use the correct grammar to make it more appropriate and correct. So this was how you develop a story with the help of given outline or the hints. So remember to add the heading and then start writing a story. So I hope you all must have understood. So just go through this topic once again and do your work regularly and keep safe at your place. So thank you, my dear students, and have a good day ahead.